Hello, divers. Welcome back. Welcome to the LA season of Dive and Wonder. I am so grateful to have you here. This is the most amazing setup for our first LA podcast. I have Luke and Georgia behind the camera, which is on my heart. And we have Marino with us, Alessandro Marino.
That's good pronunciation, actually.
Is it? Alessandro Marino?
That's even better.
Okay. In case you want to spell it. No, I'm joking. We're so pumped to be here. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. But just a little bit of context, because I love that story. I met Ale around 2 years ago in Puglia, in Italy. Because of the most random circumstances, I was arriving to meet my best friend and stay with her for a month, and her car got stolen on the day I was arriving to Milan. So I ended up having to book a flight, book a really cheap flight so it would arrive at midnight. So she had to wait somewhere next to the airport, and Ale was there. And then we met on...
I was at the restaurant. Yeah,
Not on the... Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we met on that trip. And yeah, I knew I was gonna pick your brain instantly. So really happy to do it for the divers, and really, really grateful to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And yeah, can you give us a brief introduction of Ale in however way that feels real to you?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's
a pleasure.
Beautiful. I'm grateful to be here and have a conversation with you. I would do it without camera, so.
Same.
What's the best way to start? I think maybe professionally, I would just say that I moved from economics to acting and then filmmaking. And now the world of teaching, and especially connected to meditation, has put all those things together.
Yes.
But I was born and raised in the south of Italy. I played soccer for 10 years, which was my great passion. Then I moved at 18 to Milan. I studied economics there for 2 years and a half. And then, of course...
Were you playing in Milan?
I was not playing in Milan. At 18, I basically stopped. I had to make a choice. Mm-hmm. And I was a better student than a soccer player. Okay. So I had to make that choice, and then made that choice and moved to Milan. And just kept playing for fun. But that was the most difficult choice that then led me actually to LA to do acting, is because soccer was the only way in which I could actually feel present in my life. Now I have the language to describe what was happening, but at that time, of course, I didn't. But it was the only moment in which I could really feel present and there and not stuck in my thoughts.
And so that started as a kid?
Started as a kid. I started playing when I was 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that. And then I just kept playing, and I wanted to be a soccer player.
Yeah. Which is a very Italian dream, right, as well? So you were saying that you started at 7 and you were dreaming about being a soccer player at that stage.
Yeah, it was just something, as you were saying, a lot of Italians love to do. But for me, apart from the dream, was really, really the only way in which I could feel present. Again, now I have the language. At that time, I was just like, I love it. I like it. I feel like myself. But then when I moved to Milan to do economics, those 2 years and a half, it was a lot of fun. But I remember dreaming about soccer the whole time. And the dreams and that pain where I did not really have the tools to face it. So I ended up after 2 years or so I went burnout, basically. I was studying a lot. I didn't have a way to express myself. And I also did my thesis on burnout, which 10 years ago or so was...
You did your thesis after 2 years?
2 years already? And a half, yeah. I graduated after 3 years.
And was there any part of it that at that point was making you, were you passionate about finance, about economics? What was the first pull you had, in high school or something, to be like, this might be?
I did not, I moved there because my older brother had done it. Mm-hmm. My father had done it. And
they did economics as well?
Economics, and also in Italian it's called economia aziendale, it's like business. And it's the one thing that you can do for 3 years, and it's the base to do everything else. It gives you some, because that's the main thing, right? At 18,
well, you figure out,
A few people know, and I didn't really know. And those 3 years gave me a little bit of, they usually give you a little bit of space to then decide later.
Did you have a space already, like your brother was there first? Did you have like
yes.
an environment already in Milan?
I was very lucky in that because my brother had found a spot and he was living there. And so I just moved in with him and we lived together 1 year. But the year after he fell in love with someone and was now.
Bye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The mother of his children, not right now, and they're still together.
Okay.
So
it was worth it. It was worth kicking
It was really
you
worth
out
it.
somehow.
I still remember the time he literally, after 1 year, we had an amazing year and he was single and I was like, oh my God.
And you were compatible to live together?
It's 8 years older than me.
Yeah.
And I admire him and loved him so much that it was easy to be compatible because I would just do anything you would say. So
that's really cute. By the way, you can have your bowl whenever you want. We are shooting our LA season in better bowls. So we're having this amazing bowls at the same time as well.
Right. You tell me if something gets stuck in my teeth or something.
You just do a close up, please, Luke.
Oh, God.
Is it good? We have the best part of this podcast is that we don't ask guests if they're allergic to anything. So we will find out in real time.
They would be, you might imagine one.
No, but you're not.
Oh, this is really good.
Beautiful. Okay,
and
so.
they didn't pay me for saying it, so it's honest.
No, we have like, no, this is really good. You should come to West Hollywood. No, it's amazing. That's how I found this place because it's like a great post-workout and it's just all the right, yummy colors of the rainbow.
And I was so starving, honestly. Yeah.
Sick. So you admired him, so you were kind of like, and also he was already like an adult, right? For your 18-year-old son. Maybe not.
25, 26, like, yeah, at that point he was
But
26.
at 18.
And I was 18. He was 26. And so, yeah, an adult, but at the same time, it was like, it was in Milan, he was single, and we were having a lot of fun. But then, literally after 1 year, he met this woman and he called me. I still remember, he called me into his room. It was on a white robe.
Like a meeting?
Exactly, like a meeting, because she had been spending a lot of time at our place, and I was not loving that, of course. And the place was not big enough. And then he turned to me and he was like, Ale, I know she's been spending a lot of time here, but if it's not her, it's not anyone else in my life. And so I really need to see this through. I want to ask you for some more time. And usually an older brother doesn't ask you for anything. It just doesn't. But that moment, he was a little tense, and he told me that. And and after 1 year, they were in the south of Italy, and now they have 2 kids and been together since. So
that's really sweet. And he
usually doesn't happen. Usually when someone tells you,
and then you can just rub it in.
Exactly.
Like
you just forget it.
You're like, and that's why you kicked me out.
He did it, and he meant it. And to me, it's one of the few things that still made me.
And did you like her back then? We can cut this.
Yeah, I did, but honestly, I didn't. I don't know. I was just jealous, mainly, as a brother, because you don't want, as you're jealous of all the
attention,
of the people you love, or boyfriends, or whatever it is.
Yeah, because they're getting to spend time.
Isn't that?
To be jealous of the people,
jealous in terms of.
I know, but you were having time with someone I love spending time with. I think the only time it's happened more so the other side that I have been in relationships and my friends were single. That happened to me longer because I was in a very long relationship before everyone was. So I then had the opposite, and then I feel like I understood it more. With my mom, when I was younger, I was a psychopath because my dad died when I was a kid. So my mom had partners. And I was an only child, and I wanted to hang to her leg the whole time. So I was, but openly, like I had a psychologist when I was a kid in school, and I used to call him the roba mamas, like a mom thief.
Okay.
So I was super jealous with my mom. This is the first time that it's really interesting because she's in a new relationship now, and as an adult is so different because you're just so happy to see your parents in love that even when because she's gonna cancel a plan really easily because she's got a better romantic plan coming up. She's like, so I knew we were gonna go to the cinema, and I'm just like, it's so cheesy. It's like seeing a teenager and she's really happy. So then I haven't been jealous. But I get what you mean, especially when I feel like people have that when you're both sharing like a single time together.
Yeah.
and then one of them is not, and then you're like, I'm super happy for your relationship, but of course the dynamic changes, the type of things you do together change.
I remember when he told me that he was going to have his first kid, and he sent me a photo. I was in bed with my first girlfriend here in LA, and I woke up, saw the message. I was in her bed, and I saw that, you're gonna be an uncle. And I remember going back home and crying. And I was not crying out of happiness. I was crying out of, I lost my brother. I was.
How old were you?
I was too old to cry for that. I was too old to cry for that.
Year. Okay.
But I remember I was like, I don't know, 20 at that point, something like that. But I remember being very sad. And of course, there is also the guilt because the kid is now the best
thing in your life.
And the best thing in my life, of course. But at that time, I was very nostalgic in my early 20s, more nostalgic than I am now, honestly. And I remember seeing that moment as everything is shifting now. And which is a difficulty, right? It's when the beautiful things are happening and you're supposed to be happy for those people, and instead you're feeling just selfish.
Yeah, but it's human, and don't feel bad about it, because my uncle, who I have, this is my paternal figure. He's one of the most important parts of my life. We're open about the family, about him kind of almost asking my mom if she was not gonna abort.
Wow.
Because she was really young.
Wow.
And now he's like, every time, because I love bringing that up.
You didn't want me.
You like family meetings. I'm like, she was this close. She was not considering it, but she was super young, and she was desperate to have a baby. So he was like, you're a psychopath.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to have a kid since she was like 21, and she had me at 24. Which to me that's like, you're a kid.
Yeah.
But to him as well, because my uncle's very like mathematical and very like organized. And my mom was like, I just have a feeling I need to have a kid. But yeah, I feel like it's just human to have that kind of, I'm really working right now in many areas on ambiguity.
Tell me more.
I'm having a hard time. I feel like understanding that there's something in your past that you are so damn grateful for that it happened, and it's built into so much of who you are now. And simultaneously that it's okay that it ended, and that it doesn't mean that now there's a mistake in the present, because that's not part of your life anymore.
For sure.
And I feel like ambiguity in general, when it comes to things, like it's so easy when you're having like down moments to go into like try to be like demonize stuff, or put in like black and white and be like, oh, that was bad, that's why it had to go like end, or that was good. Or countries, I have that a lot with the grief of countries, where I was feeling like really this weird guilt. I'm feeling different now, but I was feeling this weird guilt with Australia, because I was like, I love you so much. And you've given me, I cannot even explain what Australia gave me in terms of like people. It introduced me to myself. It introduced me to nature and how much it mattered. It introduced me to life in a way. And simultaneously to be like, I know this is a moment I need to close for now. And that not meaning that you're ungrateful. Yeah. Or not being okay with having ended something in the past, and that does not mean that you cannot miss things about it. I feel like that's
real wisdom, right? Or growth. It's
to accept ambiguity.
It's to keep two things that seem against each other. It's like to put the duality in one.
Yeah.
Right? And to also be willing to live in that. We can call it uncertainty as well, because the reason why we go to black and white is because as humans we want to feel safe, and so we want to jump on one of the two and know where we're standing, even if we don't like it. At least to jump.
Even
on
if we don't like
or
it,
black, they're like it. We just know, and we're certain. If a friend, like one of my teachers once told me, I remember exactly that, of people and humans, more than looking for happiness, they're looking for safety. It's our main thing. And so that choosing between black and white, it's a choice that comes from wanting to be safe.
And it's a brain instinct as well.
It's normal. That's
all
why
the time.
When you only need a lot of strength and a lot of courage when you are putting yourself in that situation of nor black or white, and being in the middle and accepting of was the right choice to live Australia. You know, you go on just one road and say, yes, of course, this is what is needed. I love LA, this is the right choice because we want to feel safe. Or, oh, I made the wrong choice. But to stay in that uncertainty of, I need to figure it out day by day. And you probably won't, we usually don't figure it out until much later. And even much
no,
later,
we don't. The
know.
dots can really only connect backwards in that sense, which is, but we always want to connect them forward to make a decision, which is crazy.
Exactly.
Because when I was making that decision as well, I was looking back, the courage I got to do that was all the same conversation. I have this very clear memory packing my bags in Paris. I started crying. I was probably PMSing. I started crying and I was alone and I was kind of like speaking to like, I don't know, the city or the country. I'm so sorry. I was feeling so guilty. As if I was like breaking up with someone. I was like, I love you and this doesn't mean that like I'm so ungrateful. And I always have this thing with like, it's about being ungrateful, I feel. And I like promise you it's not because I just feel like it needs to happen. And so that of course, because it's like one of the best decisions I've done. And I've never regretted any of these decisions, so it's crazy. But then leaving Australia, I did feel like
heavy.
But yeah, because I feel like, and that happens even with like leaving jobs and everything. So that's one of the things I'm so curious to ask you about. But I feel like that's one of the things that weighs the most is the fact that the longer you hold on, I feel like, or even the more you kind of grow in life, actually, that's a better way to put it, the less time you wait until you jump out of stuff. So the less toxic they get, the less dark you can jump things while they're still very light.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing in terms of evolution, but it doesn't feel as, it's harder to argument it to people. Because it's easier to be like, oh, I had this like coworkers that were nothing, or there's this bad thing happened, so I can leave. But then sometimes I just have an instinct that I need to go there, and even if this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's, at the end of the day, is better in terms of like you realize that you're not like 20 when you let stuff go rotten.
Especially because the more we grow up, the more we realize that we don't have enough time to even do the things we love. Like there is there's a beautiful book about it's time management for mortals. That's how it's called.
Yeah.
And what he was saying is like one of the main things that we get wrong in time management or all those techniques is that one of the examples has been it's been done for a long time is you go to this university, they put like a bowl there, and then there is sand and there are different stones, and they say try to make everything fit. And if you put what they're proving is that if you put all the sand first and then all the stones, they're not gonna fit. But if you put the stones that are supposed to be the important things in your life first, and then you just pour the sand, it's gonna fill it up. And so everything is gonna fit.
That's so interesting.
Their idea is, if you place it all in the right way, everything is gonna fit. But the book is making a point of like, that assumption itself is wrong, because in life, even if we place everything in the right way, we just won't have enough time. And he connected this quote from Warren Buffett in which he said, one of the first things you should choose in your life is to make a list and choose the 20 things that you love the most, the really ones that you desire. And then just pick the first 5 and focus on those. Because the difficulty is not to just take away everything that you don't like, which is already a big deal in our lives, but to really let go of the things we love.
Yes, and to prioritize, that's the thing. And that's a really hard decision when it comes to like countries, I feel. Because it's committing to like building a life and setting up when there's so many countries to see, so many languages to be learning, so many people that you don't know. Like it's all this thing of like, okay, I'm here, but then if I'm here, but then you're also not focusing on building something here if you just want to also be there. So it's this, it is the prioritizing. Even I think like the concept of seasons, even if it's just like a placebo, it helps me a lot in that, because I'm like, it's not like it's not gonna happen necessarily. It's like you cannot do everything at the same time. So maybe these years are for building something specific, and maybe you will live in Japan for a year. I don't know.
100%. And it's in, I believe in seasons a lot, both throughout a year and in life. But it is that continuous choice and realization that you just don't have enough time for everything. And it becomes very, at least for me, I went, around with this feeling that if I could only do those things a little bit better, if my daily routine could be just a little bit better, I might be able to do all those things.
The optimizing everything also becomes the biggest anxiety. And you don't enjoy things. Don't you have that? Then you're not enjoying because then you're not, you need to optimize so that you can read later, this. So you need to optimize the training. So if you spend a little bit more stretching, I already took off time of my reading time, and then I already don't have time for my walk.
We live, like another teacher of mine says, we usually go for the event and miss the experience. Meaning that we're always just, it's what's happening. Again, it's not only us as humans, because this has been happening since the beginning, but also the society in which we live in right now.
Yeah.
You have, even just in LA, the things we could do in one day, the events we could do in one day, the places we could see. It's just too much in comparison to the little time we have.
Yeah.
And that's why we feel, we're the burnout generation of how they call us. It's just.
Whilst we also have the least amount of actual struggles in a way, which is crazy. You just mentioned, we're going to go in this order because that's how life goes, but you just mentioned something that I really wanted to ask you.
Oh, this thing is so good.
It's so yummy. Right? And you have 42 grams of protein there.
Holy.
Yeah, I know. No, that's why I kept on coming back here.
Spectacular. Really like it. That was sweet. Well, like that.
Spain.
Which one did you have? The berry one, right?
Me? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so you keep on mentioning something regarding one of the things I wanted to pick your brain on, and is your teachers. And I'm really curious on how that whole journey to find, choose, and even attract a mentor goes in your life. Does it, in terms of does it come from a question? Do you feel like you always have a questioning before the mentor in that area comes in? Or do you feel like you meet people and you realize you can learn a lot from them and then go that way? How has that worked through your life?
So I've always, and this is, I think it's a very common experience. I've always dreamed of the great mentor just showing up and telling me what to do.
All the answers.
And where to go, and that it would come to me and look in my eyes and say, I believe in you, and we will do it together, and guide me to the thing. It didn't happen like that. All these teachers that I'm telling you about, I went on a
chasing
hunt
them
to get them and to find them and to.
But how? How was that hunt?
It's different ways. Acting wise, for sure. When I showed up here, I came here. I went to a conservatory in New York Film Academy, because it allowed me to get a visa, and in Los Angeles, in Burbank. And there were many teachers there, but there was one teacher who kept talking about his experiences in old Hollywood and being a friend with Frank Sinatra and being the casting director for Rocky and all these things. So usually I just try to find a teacher who has similar tastes. And then I went to him, and usually what I do is that I write letters, or I write them privately, or anything in which I can tell them, please just see me one-on-one. I want to have a conversation with you, and I need your help. So it's always been more like that. And acting-wise, he was a really important person. With meditation and all of that, also, usually schools. And
But was it? Okay. So you've found, so the question is coming first, is what I'm asking. So you've had, for example, I'm gonna point to a specific example I had.
Yep.
Your first acting class in London, right?
My first,
The one that kind of, you talked to me about, that did the shift of maybe I'm gonna go explore this. When you've had these moments, more than specifically about something you're already studying and you're finding to get better, when you're having these moments kind of redirections, were you looking for it? How did this come into your life?
It's interesting because if I look back, I can tell you that from the outside I was looking for it, right? But from within, if you had told me at 21 that 10 years later I would have been on this couch in Los Angeles as a filmmaker and actor and teaching meditation, I would have not believed you. I would have not had any idea. Even going to Los Angeles or doing acting was not a dream, you know, or an idea. So that class in which I arrived in London, a few things happened that brought me to be interested in. But usually what I noticed, both with how I was introduced to meditation, in that shift between the two big shifts in my life, between economics to acting and then to meditation, both happened in a moment of total surrendering, going on my knees, crying and saying, I don't know what the hell to do next. Anytime that comes, the fact is that it cannot be manufactured. If tomorrow I go on my knees and cry and say, please help me, usually the day after nothing happens. Those were moments.
You've tried. We can see you've tried.
I've tried. And I tried because after I was like,
what's going to happen every time I cry?
Those 2 times it happened, I was like, wow, this is powerful. Like if you truly, completely surrender. Both times I was taken care of in a way that was much better than anything I could have thought of. Yet, was I consciously surrendering to it? I don't know. There is another teacher, actually this is Ram Dass, who says, one of the things he mentioned is like the rooster, when, you know, it does in the morning, he thinks that he's
We're going to repeat that noise a lot on the edit.
It's because I don't know how to say it. What's the
kikiriki?
Kikiriki,
How do you say that in Italian?
That's how il verso del gallo. Like it's the sound of the rooster.
Il verso del gallo,
It makes it like, and it says the rooster thinks that he's making the sunrise. Just because he makes a sound and then he sees the sunrise. And so often as humans, we think that it's because I cried and I went on my knees that something happened. But
there's a lot,
the feeling is that that's the mentor or the choice or whatever showed up every time in moment in which I surrendered my intellect and my thinking mind and my rational approach, and there was something else that I allowed to come in. Then after that, of course, you need to use your intellect again and make a lot of choices. But that moment, that switch, both those big transitions in my life were caused by something that I would have not been smart enough to.
And it's a heavy feeling before you have the answer. It's crazy that we had a conversation with Luke the other day about that with a script, and it's like literally that feeling of describing of, I'm just gonna cry here because I don't know what to do about this, and this is just disgusting feelings. So I'm just gonna like whine and realize, and it's, and you don't want to manufacture it as well, because like I'm like, you would want to, but I don't want to feel as down as I was feeling.
Yeah, it's
because it goes to a point where if you're there, it's because you're not having a great time.
Because it is actually and honestly painful. Like those moments. It's not that I was like, well, I just don't know what to do. No. I don't cry in that way often. Maybe it happens like once a year, or
that's often.
It's often, I'm a big believer that like a good cry of that level really helps. But those were moments of truly. I don't cry at now things. On acting, but those were painful moments of feeling actually lost, and usually were moments in which I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm trying so hard, and it's just not working. And anytime I stopped to think that I was supposed to know it, that thing happened. But again, it's so freaking painful. Like it's not that I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna cry now so something good happens. But now, when I feel very down, and I feel even recently when I was on a retreat, I was like feeling lost.
I want to ask you about that.
My mind comes up with this quote that is like, God is cooking. Like there is something that it just repeats, and it's like when I'm really down, it's like, okay, when you're really down,
focaccia.
What is it? No. It's cooking something is like that. There is something when you're really in pain that you're closer to truth than when you're feeling kind of good.
You know what, like there's a beautiful, I keep on re-listening to that part. I mean, I keep on re-listening. I've done a lot of things about that book, about Letters to a Young Poet, that by the way, Ali has a tattoo of. Obsessed with that book. What's your...
It's the book I moved with when I moved to LA.
That book is, I've gifted it 30,000 times. Every time I reread it, it's a new book, and I didn't... you can never... If you've ever integrated in that book, you're probably dead.
Yeah, or you're probably done. You're enlightened.
You're enlightened. But that part, I kept on going back to that on the moment that we were speaking about with Luke about the specific thing, because he keeps on going about when like sadness comes in, be quiet and let it enter. And I feel like in my head for that specific thing, I was like, I've mastered that because I can just if I do like a little cry or whatever, I'll get it out. In terms of when my friends are going through breakups and stuff, like you have to feel it and whatever. But I realized a few days ago that I'm like, it's not really like that honest in the way I had been doing it, or not always, and no moments like that where I'm just like, sometimes the way it goes through you doesn't necessarily need to be crying. Like I had to write that day and it was something else, but it was like it's gonna feel because the few days before, I have no idea that I'm going to have this moment and now I'm going to be like, oh my God, that was a beautiful experience. It's just feeling really down.
Yep.
And the having that trust that something is cooking and there's something, and I love how he goes, it's the future entering into you, and it's so confusing.
I love that passage, yeah.
Yeah, and I keep on repeating that on moments because I'm like, I've seen it in retrospect. Where like something is, you know something's gonna change and stuff, but before you even intellectualize that, you're just uneasy and sad, and also you're feeling grateful if your life is great and you have all your loved ones healthy and stuff, and you're like, and I just woke up depressed.
Because again, that thing is happening through us. It's not planned. It's not something that is happening through your thoughts. Everything could be okay in your life, and you can still wake up and not feel great, because sometimes the two processes are not just aligned with each other. But I was just thinking also that sometimes we learn so much to, especially as actors, as artists, to feel certain emotions in which we want to lean into the sadness, and we learn how to, at least I could see it for myself, not fake it, but it's like
a bit like initiated a little bit,
because sometimes it's source. It's our source of creation.
Which I was having a discussion about that with my mom, because she was a little bit like, she respects and supports and everything so much, but she does have that worry of like, do you have to go into those places to get that? Because I was so happy after this, and I was like, I think you need to develop the habits to get out. And that's what takes time and like maturity and stuff, and still figuring it out. But I do think there's the exploration of the abysses where you end up finding pearls. But then it's really, I feel like you need to be really careful. Zane Liu was saying this on a podcast he did with Hosier about past artists that have like just decided not to be here anymore and everything because they were going through a lot, and there's a moment where if you romanticize that too much and you spend too much time there without having the tools to get out or having the habits to get out, then it can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I do think that's the fine line of being like, oh my God, I discovered so much on that like last depression.
Yeah.
There's a full script that came out of that depression.
I don't believe in it, honestly. Meaning that, of course, in the moments in which are really heartbroken, as I was saying before, you're very close sometimes to love and to wisdom and to those places. But I was talking this morning with my best friend about this as well. The goal in the end is to be able to last, like great artists.
Yeah.
It's you want to be able to keep creating, and that creation just in pain. Again, if it is necessary, meaning that the pain is there, the best thing you can do is to create. But if you want and forcefully bring yourself back there in order to create, David Lynch would always talk about it, and he has made amazing films. Yeah. He always would say, you know, you don't need to be.
It takes more artistry not to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, Penelope Cruz was saying that as well. She's like, the more confident you get, the less you think you need to destroy the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was saying that about having kids. She was like, I love to be like I would just put myself on the worst of spots for the whole time I would be filming something. I'm just gonna do a good job if I keep that whole weeks or period really dark and I don't see my friends and I don't have any light because I'm gonna be better. She was like, I love doing that. She was speaking about this with Benedict Cumberbatch. And they were speaking about the fact that once you have kids and you realize me doing that means that I'm also fucking up the parent this person's having for all this time. And then that also, that just comes from imposter syndrome of me not thinking that I'm gonna be able to get there fast and get there out fast and come back home and be a parent. And that it came with age. But she was like, I spent my 20s wanting to be depressed and like, to be like, I'm a really good artist if I'm like on sorrow. And I do think it comes from imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And also because, as she was saying, it requires a very high level of artistry. And De Niro talks about it all the time. Of, like in his 20s and 30s, he would do strange stuff. And then he got really good and confident. And so it's okay, I think.
It's part of the path,
to try
maybe.
And go that place. But it's clear that all the great actors and great artists as well, then they find out that they can
get in and out.
You can do it while being not always in that place. It's gonna cost you something.
Yeah.
It's like art, especially acting wise. It's gonna cost you.
It has a price, yeah.
It has a price, but the price doesn't have to be destroying your whole life and always being that place, because that's not great craft.
What was your relationship to that, like to coming back and asking for help in terms of, I don't know, I would love you to deepen into your relationship to, well, meditation, but to your relationship to source and however you feel about your spirituality. But how was your upbringing in Italy? Because I know it's a very religious country in general.
Yeah.
Did you have like a religious upbringing? Were they spiritual? Where were you?
I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
Because that's what you would do.
Because it was the fashion.
This is what you do in Italy. And I always had a good, it was quite healthy in terms of my mother. I would go to church on Sundays, but it would
Do you have the choice?
Of not going?
Yeah.
At that point, you had to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, and again, if I was super tired or certain things, or I had soccer games at times, like I wouldn't.
Priorities.
Exactly, priorities. But that's why I'm saying healthy in the way that it was not something that it was very tense or that would, manage or lead our life at home. My mother was always in that sense, even growing up, always inviting us to, it's important to believe in something. So it was not about religion. Sometimes I would ask certain questions and they were like, yeah, well, those are some rules about the church, but that's not what I want to share with you. So she always
they were both like that already?
My father, yes, but meaning that they were very open in this sense.
That's great.
They always made this thing in which it was it was not something that we had to do, and mostly always the difference between what are the rules and the dogma of it, and the importance instead of finding something within yourself that you can believe in or pray to.
Okay.
At one point, I remember my younger brother, and he was 13, 14, right away, he was like, I don't believe in God. Like immediately,
Yeah.
and
At that
everybody
age.
in the family had to know it. He wanted to be a rebel, so he was
Yeah.
screaming it, and of course. And my older brother.
He's the Aquarius one?
No, the Scorpio.
Okay.
And so that was the situation. I remember my mother telling me that still, when he was probably a few years later, I was like, I'm worried about your brother. Not because I don't care about religion. Like,
Yeah.
he could believe in anything he wants to. But sometimes to know that you can close your eyes and pray to something in your life can be very powerful and very helpful. And now,
Like a tool.
15 years later, I know what she was talking about. I didn't know what praying meant at that time. And I didn't
How
know
old
what
were
she
you?
meant. When she told me this, probably, yeah, I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
So before I developed my own relationship.
to it.
Yeah, and my father, he said, would go. Again, either of them were intense, but I remember a few years ago after my first silent retreat, I was back for Christmas, and my father came back from the church, and I asked, in all this, my older brother is not married because he doesn't believe in marriage.
Yeah.
And also doesn't go to church.
Okay.
And so I came back from church, and I asked, Dad, how did it go? And he was like, good. Just talking with God, and asked him, I have 3 kids. One doesn't believe in God, the other one doesn't believe in marriage, and the other one is turning into a Buddhist. And I was asking, out of like 0 out of 3, I just wanted one who had the same, kind of approach. And for him was
That's
that
so
type
funny.
of joke and relationship, but nothing very, very intense.
Nothing very intense. So you never had a moment of like fully disconnecting?
I had a moment of fully disconnecting for sure. When I'm at 18, when I stopped.
When you moved to Milan?
Yeah, because I remember I remember 2 main moments. One was going to church, and I remember you would chant Osanna was the name of the chant.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I did.
You just brought so many,
And I just did a wrong thing, and a girl in front of me laughed. And I was like, this is amazing. And so every Sunday I would go there and fuck up the chant just so she would laugh.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started to love going to church on Sundays at first. But I always had a type of inclination to, when they would talk about kindness, so being kind with each other, it's always something but I was not traumatized. And that's now my question that is going to come to you. But I was not traumatized. I was not pushed. It was not talking about this God who would look at me, and if I do bad things, he would do this and that. We would not talk about hell back at home.
Yeah.
It's good to go on Sundays. It's good to believe on something, and it's good to be kind to other people. So
That's really fun.
but then at one point, I remember at 18 thinking, oh wow, I didn't have a relationship with God. When I moved to LA, I started to pray a little bit again, and I was like, what is this?
And you were referring to God?
At that moment.
So you didn't have, basically, before you answer that, you didn't have a stained idea of God. Like you hadn't related it to the Crusades, you hadn't related it to all the stuff that Catholic Church has done, and
I think that what had happened to me, yes, and like I would make those points intellectually in front of my parents and my grandparents. So when they would talk, I would say, well, what about this? And the church is not. So
the Bible,
and especially my younger brother would bring all these points at the table in order to say why. But something in a way almost worse happened to me, which is what I am trying now to help people with, because I lived it. I completely forgot about God or about the need or any spirituality in my life.
Okay.
I got so focused in college, in doing what I needed to do and get what I needed to do, and having fun, having women, and going for a drink and being good, that I completely stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking about that for a healthy life, to have a healthy spirituality, whatever that means, or a healthy inner world, however you want to call it, it is a component in which maybe one arrives to say, I just don't believe it, I just believe that everything is random.
Yeah.
Let's still put in some thought and emotions in it and run with it. But at that point, it was just out of me. And that's why early 20s, I was like, I just didn't question it. I was not taking care of my spiritual life at all.
And at that point, you were not, like, your mental health was fine. There was no anxiety or anything.
I went burnout at 20, 21. So
okay.
And then I thought the solution was changing my whole life, giving up all economics, all the finance world, and move into acting. And so for quite a few years, couple of years, art did that to me. Art became my spiritual path. And that's what acting did to me, and still did. My way of, now I can say the word God or the word spirituality or anything with a little bit more connection.
Yeah.
It is thanks to acting. Like if acting had done anything to me, it is because it opened the possibility of something bigger than myself.
Did it feel similar, that feeling that you had the first time, or even I guess the first time when you were doing the class, but when you took the decision, was it a similar thing to what you were feeling playing soccer?
No, that's exactly what it was. Exactly.
And you didn't have that at all in your other career?
No, I didn't. No, not at all. That's what happened when I the first London class, acting classes, went on stage and they just asked you, look around, to people. And I was just looking around and then came back home and I was like, that felt like playing soccer. And I didn't know what it meant. Yeah. Now I know that it meant presence. It meant that I was just there. And mostly because I was so scared to look at everybody and I was feeling on the spot that I didn't have time to think about anything else. And
did you do one of those eye contact exercises for like 5 minutes?
But it was with the whole class. So literally the first day of that acting class, which again, it was really an introductory to acting, even less than that.
Yeah.
It was just go on stage and look for a few seconds, everybody in their eyes. And that's all. And now I know that what happened was that I was out of my mind and back into my body. Even if it was terrifying, it was that sensation of like, I'm alive. I have a body and I'm not just a head moving through the world.
Yeah.
That's how then I decided to give up everything. It's because then I came here and on the first scene study class, I did the first scene and I went back home and I was like, I'm going to do this forever. Like, I don't care. Because I
remember that feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy moment because also like that it gives you enough courage to go like, I'll risk it all.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that, again, I guess that you can reach with meditation. You can reach it other ways. But at that point, it feels like this is the only way that I'm like the realest thing I've felt, whatever that looks like. And then you attach it to that.
That's what a lot of artists have. And that's why sometimes they suffer a lot, is because then the art itself becomes the only way to feel present,
Yeah.
And we have it and I've had it for a long time. And to me, meditation, and that's why I was like, oh, sorry the word, but fuck.
Yeah.
Why I didn't know this before, of like what actually I was loving about soccer and loving about acting and loving about falling in love. I remember writing the first time I fell in love.
It's another way where you're present.
With this woman, this girl. I was 18, and I told her I always feel in a rush, and now that I met you for the first time, I feel I don't have to go anywhere else, and I felt beautiful. At peace. And so that's why I was getting
like you're right where you're supposed to be for like a second. Everything else is like I need to do that, and you're like, no, something's telling me right in this second. I'm where I'm supposed to be.
That's why we love it, right?
Yeah, and then you're out.
We love falling in love because at that point, if you're in love, you're on the couch like that, she's there, and you're like, I don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah,
I get to here forever.
Yeah.
But then finally, and it took me quite a bit, it was connecting all those dots. And it was like, what is the thing in common between soccer, between acting, between also being with my family at times, or falling in love? And the things that I was in common, that I was there.
That you were there.
I was not lost in my thoughts, and I was there, and I felt alive, and I felt connected, whether it was positive or negative or whatever. And I feel that then my life is shifted in, like, an opportunity opened, in which I was like, that is what requires most attention and effort, more than anything else in my life, which is like to create, like that is a possibility, that presence is a possibility in any moment of your life, no matter what you're doing.
It's a practice though. It's a skill as well.
So it's a practice, the most difficult thing we can do sometimes.
Yeah.
But just that possibility, to me, just blew my mind that time. I was like, and it's so close, because it's always a thought away. Anytime, like, to be present, it's always just one breath. Like, it's just one breath away, and then you're back there. And then, of course, you're going to leave again.
It is, but I feel like it's like at least 3 steps away when I'm at a certain moment of my hormones.
Yeah.
And then the rest is 1 step away.
Okay.
But I do feel like it's a few steps away in a specific wake up the month. You cannot relate.
I had yesterday 3 friends, girls in my life that were at the first week. That were commenting on the troubles they were having, and I was like, I love that you want to share it with me.
I cannot relate.
But now I'm much more aware as a man, which was helpful.
Yeah, which is it's a few steps away. It's crazy because it does feel like you need to do more work, and you still have to trust that it's there. But then the voices and stuff, they have like a loudspeaker. It's like a really weird chemical thing going on where it's just like, but why would you be present if the world's about to end?
Yeah.
And you didn't send that email. Like, why would you be lazy and be present right now?
Yeah, which
But,
I think in a way it's what happens sometimes when we are in a deeper level of depression, or when it's, our brain. That's why
The brain chemistry
we're one
is-
breath away in our best days.
in our best, yeah.
Most of the times, if sometimes we're in moments that are, whether it's the first week of
The
the
first,
period
or caffeinated, lack of sleep. Chemically,
Exactly.
it adds more steps sometimes, and then
it adds more steps, but only to me was really fundamental in my life, and it was beautiful to know that there was this possibility.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I've always thought that the only way to feel okay was to play soccer, to fall in love, or to be on stage. And you realize that to play soccer, to be on stage, and to fall in love are three things that you're not always
able to do.
in control of, and you cannot do at all times. It's like when,
Or drugs, which is another way for people to get there.
to get,
Alcohol. Yeah, I feel like a lot of.
No, but that's how addiction starts.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
then you relate that sensation, whatever it is, to one way, to one thing, and then you need that thing in order to feel that way. That's addiction.
Yeah.
Whether it's a phone or
Yeah.
sometimes are better addictions.
Yeah,
Whether
an
it's
addiction to sex,
read,
addiction to relationships. Yeah, 1,000%. Because you're present.
it puts you exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.